For years, I did what many gardeners are told to do when they get serious about soil health. I bought worms. Red wigglers weren't cheap, and every time a bin crashed or production slowed, I convinced myself I needed to buy more. It felt like progress, but it was really dependence. Then one day, out of equal parts frustration and curiosity, I tried something embarrassingly simple: cardboard. Not fancy inputs, not supplements, not another delivery of worms, just cardboard. That decision quietly ended my worm buying habit forever, and it completely changed how I build soil here on Soilpower. If you've ever wanted thriving worms without constant spending, or you've struggled to keep a worm system alive long-term, this is for you. Worms aren't the problem. The system is. I learned this the hard way. Each time I bought worms, they arrived healthy, active, and full of promise. For a few weeks, things looked great. Then numbers dipped, some escaped, others slowed down. Eventually, I'd be staring into a bin, wondering where all my money went. The issue wasn't carelessness, it was imbalance. Worms don't thrive just because you own them. They thrive when their environment continuously feeds them, buffers moisture, balances carbon and nitrogen, and gives them safety. I was focusing on the animals instead of the habitat. That's backwards gardening, and soil always exposes shortcuts. Here's the part most beginners, and honestly, even experienced gardeners underestimate: carbon is the foundation of soil life. Not compost, not kitchen scraps, carbon. Worms don't just eat food waste, they feed on decomposing organic matter colonized by microbes. Without enough carbon, food rots instead of composting. Bins smell, heat builds, and worms either die or leave. Cardboard, especially plain brown cardboard, is one of the most accessible, balanced, and forgiving carbon sources a gardener can use. It absorbs excess moisture, prevents compaction, and decomposes slowly enough to create long-term stability. That's the secret. Stability beats speed every time. The first time I added shredded cardboard generously, really generously, I noticed immediate changes. The bin smelled earthy instead of sour, moisture evened out, food scraps stopped turning slimy. Within weeks, worms weren't just surviving, they were multiplying. What surprised me most was where new worms came from. I stopped buying them, and native worms just appeared. Cocoons hatched, and the populations kind of self-regulated. Once the system was right, worms either found their way in, or reproduced fast enough that I never needed to restock. Cardboard created a living buffer. It gave microbes space to grow, and honestly, it slowed everything down in the best way possible. This matters. Use plain, brown, non-glossy cardboard, no plastic coatings, no heavy inks, remove tape and labels. The simpler, the better. Tear it by hand or shred it. Don't pulverize it into dust. Worms like structure. Layer it loosely. You want air pockets, moisture retention, and gradual breakdown. Cardboard isn't food in the traditional sense, it's infrastructure. Think of it as building roads and houses for microbes, which then feed the worms. People obsess over ratios. Here's the truth. If your bin smells bad or feels wet and heavy, you need more cardboard. If it looks dry and inactive, add moisture and a little nitrogen. That's it. I stopped measuring entirely. I started responding. Cardboard gave me margin for error. I could add kitchen scraps without fear because the carbon was already waiting to balance things out. This is especially powerful for beginners. Cardboard forgives mistakes. It buys time. It teaches you to read your system instead of following rigid rules. Once I saw what cardboard did in my worm system, I used it everywhere: under mulch, in raised beds, around fruit trees, in compost piles. In soil, cardboard feeds fungi. It moderates temperature. It protects moisture. Earthworms follow it underground. Instead of importing life, I started inviting it. This aligns perfectly with the Soilpower philosophy: build conditions, not dependence. When soil life thrives, plants follow. Always. The reason this ended my worm buying habit forever is simple. Cardboard supports reproduction, not just survival. Worms don't need constant inputs when their environment is stable. So, worms actually regulate their own numbers. They'll expand when there's enough food and space, but, they slow down when conditions get a bit tight. Buying worms, well, that just treats the symptom. But, honestly, cardboard fixes the cause. And, hey, the best part? It's free. Or, well, pretty close to it. Every box that would have been trash, yeah, it became soil capital. Don't compact cardboard, don't drown it, don't rely on food scraps alone, and don't expect instant results. Soil biology works on its own timeline. If you're patient, consistent, and generous with carbon, you'll see something powerful happen. Your system will stop needing you to rescue it. That's real sustainability. I didn't quit buying worms because worms are bad. I quit because I no longer needed to buy life. I learned how to grow it. Cardboard taught me that soil isn't built with products, it's built with processes. When you understand that, gardening becomes cheaper, easier, and far more rewarding. If this changed how you think about worms, composting, or soil, you're exactly the kind of gardener Soilpower is for. Subscribe to the channel, share this with someone who's still buying worms every season, and let's keep building living soil the smart way, one humble piece of cardboard at a time.